Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today we're reacting to Why is Our Attention Span Declining? Acharya. So, I will say this. I don't know if my attention span is necessarily declining, but I will say maybe perhaps a little impatient, kinda. Or I do remember a time when I was very kind of impatient with YouTube because I guess I kind of watched YouTube slightly in the beginning of its phase where there's literally no ads. Not even little, man, they don't even have pop-up ads anymore in the video. Oh, jeez, I am that old. But I remember there's no ads on YouTube, and then all of a sudden it started little. No, don't get me wrong. There's like ads on the side, but not on in the middle of the video, not even on the bottom. So if you look at the video, used to be an ad that'd come up right here, like a little box, and you have the X. I haven't seen that lately, but then again, maybe it's because I'm on a mobile device and whatnot. I guess it does pop up every few times, but I haven't really seen it very much, amazingly. But then again, I use mobile device on a lot of things, so those things are not very common. But I do remember a time when there was no ads, and I remember when that little tiny thing popped up there. That was the first ad. It was annoying, and now I'm just like, nah. Yeah, I get annoyed by skippable ads, personally. The reason why being is because skippable ads tend to be very, very long. And if you're in the middle of doing something, it's gonna play out like it's 3 minutes long ad and it's skippable. But if your hands are wet and you can't hit the skip button, it's annoying. I have a preference of non-skippable ads because then at that point, well, there's nothing you can do but to have to watch that. So I'm just sitting there washing dishes or just doing chores around the house while I wait for the ad to go away. So attention span, though, I don't think mine is declining, but I do believe it to be true with our generation. Back in the day, you had commercials that were 30 seconds to a minute long. Now it's just like maybe 20 seconds. Anyways, let's hear what he has to say.
Does the person you are with encourage you to read? You have to ask, what does he bring for me? Roses or books? If someone has a stake in making you better, that person will push you towards books. Books are what we all need.
So good afternoon, sir. My question is, sir, nowadays we use YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and other such short video platforms, and they are really shortening our attention span. So my question is, how can we use technology and media in such a way that it does not affect our attention span, and what are some ways to maximize it? Thank you, sir.
Okay, what I'll say with that one is real quick. It's the sheer fact that it's up to our individual selves to do this for ourselves. We cannot force people to do this. You can, what was it, Vine used to be a thing, which I believe is like, I don't know how short it was. It was quite short, didn't last very long. I like the YouTube Shorts because it can get you to the point immediately. But at the same time, I like long form factor too because it depends on what I want. If you want a quick information or a quick like little fact or something, Shorts is pretty nice, just get it in there real quick. I don't really watch it unless it's something that's interesting, straight to the point. But at the same time, I like to hear the whole discussion as well. So again, it's up to every individual person to make this change for themselves. And hopefully, I guess the biggest thing you could do is let that information out there. It's like, hey, if you can constantly watch YouTube Shorts, you are destroying your attention span. Nothing wrong with watching YouTube Shorts, but be mindful and to, I don't know, watch long form factor YouTube. That doesn't sound right. Maybe to read a book or something, like he was advertising earlier.
No, see, it is primarily not about the span of attention. The important thing is not really for how long you can hold your attention on an object. The important thing is what is the quality of the object you are attending to. And the nature of human consciousness is such that only very specific type of objects can really hold your attention for long. Let me go a little deeper into it. You see, our mind, our consciousness is constantly searching for something. Getting it? Man is the name of a lifelong craving. We are continuously a longing. And the world is full of infinite objects, and we do not know those objects. Therefore, we keep approaching those objects one after the other, incessantly, all our life, in the hope that our internal longing will come to rest through one of those objects. That's why we are constantly restless. That's why we are constantly trying, experimenting, knocking at one door after the other. Getting it? That is the reason why the short format, the short video format in social media has been inevitable. And since it has arrived over the last few years, it has been more successful than the longer formats. Because the audience, without even knowing it, in an unconscious way, is looking for something extraordinary. Now, if you give them a 30-minute piece to watch, by the second or third minute, it is anyway clear that the thing that you are looking for is not going to be found in that long video.
Is he trying to say like, long format video are like made with a lot of fillers, kind of, where they try to stretch the, where they try to stretch the video out by talking a whole bunch of nonsense? I try not to do that, but I try to stick with things, but I do ramble sometimes. But I don't try to fill out the video. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. There are some YouTube videos that I watch where they display certain things. Like I like watching Google Foods. I haven't watched a lot of it lately, but there are times where he shows you cooking. He cooks the food, but he doesn't explain anything. It's just for show. And if he cut that part out, it wouldn't have changed anything. But it's just, I don't know if that's necessarily filler, but it's still enjoyable to a degree. But yeah, again, I guess I don't really watch too many YouTubers that kind of has a lot of filler on there. But I'm wondering if that's what he's saying.
Right? So after the third minute, the audience will drop out.
Or maybe saying like, you want that information really quick and you don't feel like watching the whole 30-minute video, so you want to get to the point, and that also.
After the third minute, the audience will anyway drop out, because it has become clear that the video is not what your deepest self wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So how do the video makers, how do the so-called content creators cope with this? They said, we know that we cannot hold the audience anyway for more than 3 minutes. So we will give them just 1 minute of content. And then the danger of the audience running away reduces. And then the proportion of the video that has been watched improves. Because if you see, on an average, if people are watching 3 minutes out of 30-minute content, that is just 10%. right? The algorithm will record that the average duration viewed is just 10% of the video length. Whereas if you serve them just a 50-second thing, the audience will watch it for 30-40 seconds before they can make up their mind to drop out. Right? Even if you discover that the video is trash, still you would have spent a few seconds on the video, 10, 20, 30 seconds, something. So even if you spend 15 seconds on a 45-second short or reel or something, you have still watched 33% of the video length. Now this 33% is far better than the 10% that you watch on the long video. So this little thing gets more favorably ranked on the YouTube or Instagram algorithm, right? Do you see the fundamental reason? The fundamental reason is everybody, be it the long video creator, the short video creator, the movie maker, the Netflix maker, does not matter who he is, everybody knows that the content that you are serving does not have that touch of eternity in it. It does not have that all essential quality in it that can simply bind the viewer to the screen. So people are trying all kinds of tricks. They have to try these tricks because they are finding themselves unable to address the central problem. And the central problem, as I mentioned right in the first sentence today, is not the length of the attention span. The central problem is the quality of the object you are serving to your audience. Is the content worth it? If the content is worth it, then people can watch even for 1 hour, 2 hours, and any length does not matter. The epics have been so long lasting. And do you know the number of verses they contain? The number of verses run into scores of thousands. 10,000 verses, 20,000 verses, 40,000 verses, more than 1,00,000 verses. And yet they have been eternal and immortal. If you talk of the Vedas, the Rig Veda itself has 10,000 verses. Or if you go to Homer and talk of Iliad and Odyssey, again there the length of the work is so daunting. But still, it has been with the people and they have just loved it. So it's not that people are afraid of length really. People are just fed up of trash. Trash. And trash does not necessarily refer to production values. It does not really refer to how attractively, how lucratively you have packaged the whole thing. It refers to what is inside the package. It is the stuff that is inside the package, that's what I am referring to as trash. What is the message you are delivering? What is the insight you are providing through your video? Is there something in the video that will give some relief to my otherwise tormented life? Be it a youngster, a man, a woman, a professional, a student, an old man, a Hindu, a Muslim, a rich man, somebody looking for a job. It does not matter. We all are missing something very essential in our life. Now, is your video or your story or whatever you have as an artist, is that able to provide me something that will fill up the hollow here in my chest? At the center of my existence is a big void, and it pains incessantly. If you are a video creator, you are an artist. If you are a painter or a storyteller, you are an artist. Do you have it in you? Does your art contain that beauty, that truth that will bring some succor to my charred life? A few drops of relief to my parched existence.
I do wonder though, like, I wonder, like, is it Vine again? Or a short format video? I believe there was another company that tried it and it failed as well. So there's Vine, I believe that's one. There's another one I remember watching it, and it was a short format one as well. It failed as well, but it could have failed because of financial issues and the fact that YouTube has such a monopoly on streaming. Well, not streaming, but I guess content, you could say. Not streaming, I think that's Twitch, but content, online video content. I'm wondering if those were just not at the right time. But what if now is that time where you're starting to see YouTube Shorts show up? You're starting to have, I guess, I don't know, I don't use Instagram, so I've heard Instagram stories, I've heard TikTok. I did use TikTok once, just to kind of go through it. It was kind of nice and funny, but I don't have it anymore. But yeah, I'm wondering if now is the time, and is it because of the generation that has the short attention span is the now that has access to this now? Because it seems like TikTok is blowing up. I don't know if it's still doing great or not. I'm sure it probably is, and that's purely short content. So I was wondering maybe if Vine was to release today, if it would be as more popular and more successful than it is back in the day, because the people at that time don't like short content video, and YouTube was relatively new too.
So that's the problem. And if you do not solve that problem, you'll find even 1 minute is too much. People will run away from you in 5 seconds. Because what you are bringing to them is just so repetitive and old and dull and boring. Within 5 seconds, people have begun to discover that the stuff being served is just a rehash of something old. Now the old thing itself was unable to provide any relief. What will this thing in the new package do? No hope. So one just scrolls away. And you hold your mobile phone like this, and with one thumb or one finger you are just scrolling away. Even 5 seconds is too much now. So that's the thing. Ours is an age of a very special kind of crisis, you see. There is a complete proliferation of all kinds of colorful objects all around. You want to buy a car, you will be flooded with choices. You specify a budget and 15, 25 kinds of models are available. You want to buy a shirt, n numbers of brands. You want to visit a place, so many options and so many tour travel operators. You want to eat, just look at the ever lengthening menu. The entire culinary expanse of the world is available on your table. So choices everywhere. That's what the industrial age has done, right? Go to Amazon. Does not matter what you want, it will be delivered at your doorsteps. People are truly empowered. So objects all around, and yet nothing that can satisfy you. I'm reminded of that beautiful poem. Water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. A lost ship in the middle of a vast ocean. Water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. That's our state. In the language of social media, you could say content, content everywhere, but not one video of relief. So instead of taking the issue head on, instead of discovering the root cause, as usual, we have relied more on trickery and cunningness and shortcuts. So we have said, okay, we will keep reducing the length of the video. We'll keep loading it with special effects. Look at the VFX content in movies these days. Why do you need that so much? Why?
I'll say this, especially about what he's saying here. Like, if I watch certain videos on YouTube, and I've noticed they're starting to add sound effects. Like they have the little boards on the side, and they push it whenever someone. I was like, oh my god, that's so childish. That is so childish, especially some of the sounds that they play. I'm like, what is going on here? They're treating you like a child in some degrees, but it's meant a way to make fun of someone in the show that they're doing, or to add some quirkiness to it. But it's so childlike. That's kind of the disturbing part to me, I guess. I don't know if disturbing is the right word. Just questionable, I guess. Like, why would you add that? It doesn't really make sense. We're, not a child, but then again, maybe I'm just getting too old. But then this makes me think about how we're treating the next generation and treating them like children, and they'll have a childlike mentality when they grow up.
There is a reason, and unless you understand that reason, you will not understand the age you are living in. You will not understand the world, you will not understand your own life. Why so many filters are needed? There is a reason, and the reason is very important to know. You cannot have a video where you're just saying something important in a simple way. Because nothing important is being said at all. Trash is being served in innumerable avatars. And therefore you require all kinds of embellishments and filters and decorations, editing and effects and all the jazz.
That's kind of funny the way he said that. It's like, we're just being constantly served trash in just many different ways that we don't, that is disguised so well that we don't know that it's trash, and we keep eating it, and then we discover it's trash. It's like, oh, I just fell for another trash. Let me try this one. Doesn't look like trash. You get fed it, and it's like, oh, it is trash. Because there's so many ways to disguise trash, as he's talking about, and that we keep feeding upon it. Not necessarily literally eating it, but being fed in terms of the videos and stuff. But yeah.
Getting it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I guess there wasn't really much to go with that one. But yeah, very interesting. Why is our attention span declining? It's not necessarily. It might be. Some doctors said it has, but Acharya is probably, or there's probably a combination, honestly, of like just it is really bad content out there, and he's right in the fact that everyone's trying to find that sweet algorithm so they can blow up on YouTube and become popular and rich. And I wouldn't doubt there are some genuine people out there with short attention span. I think if you in America, I believe, a lot of boys have ADHD, attention deficit disorder, something along those lines, advanced or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but it's attention deficit disorder. Essentially, is that they can't sit in one spot for very long. They have to be doing something active, and I think they're drugging these kids so that they can sit in the classroom and pay attention to what the teacher's teaching. Now, I don't remember if we actually had that issue or not, but drugging these kids when they're so young and developing still, it's kind of worrisome to see what kind of effects they have long term. And, a lot of teachers are pushing, it's like, you know what, you can't, everyone doesn't learn the same, so you kind of have to teach them in different ways. And I think Sadhguru talks about that a little bit in terms of what his schooling is. Like, you can't have like certain kids that can just sit there all day. Not everyone's like that. So it's very interesting. Um, and this applies to real life too, obviously. The teaching in school, if you just sit there and very, very boring, you're not going to get the attention of the children. You have to kind of spice it up, add the special effects there. But it's something that's needed, though, for education, because obviously some education is kind of boring. But they're kids; they're not gonna be enlightened or anything like that. So it's a bit of the exception, I guess you could say. I do wonder, would he agree with that? Kids seeking enlightenment's not very realistic. I mean, it could be cultural, of course, but I guess for the majority of kids nowadays, it's not going to be realistic. And maybe spicing up the education system to keep their attention, that way they learn, and that way they absorb the lessons that they're being taught much better. I can't remember if I've ever heard anything, at least in the United States, where they've done that. I think they have to some degree, but I didn't really watch very many videos of it. But I wouldn't doubt it working. But it's quite difficult because you have to develop a whole new teaching method for sure. So anyways, small reaction to why is our attention span declining? If you like my concept, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down, and down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.